Trey Lance, a quarterback with tremendous upside after spending his collegiate career at North Dakota State, who was taken 3rd overall in the 2021 NFL Draft by a team who traded away 4 future draft picks to get him, has now been traded away after 2 years. But how did we get here? Well, that answer is not a clear or simple one. In this video, I will take a deep dive into the unfortunate career of the Minnesota native. But before we get into the video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and leave a like if you enjoy the video. And let me know if you enjoy the style of video. I'm looking to include some similar style videos on the channel going forward, so your feedback would be much appreciated. But enough of all that, let's get into the video. Trey Lance committed to North Dakota State University in December of 2017. He initially went on a recruitment visit to the University of Minnesota in February of that year, which was actually his preferred destination. However, they and other Power 5 schools saw Trey Lance as a wide receiver or even a defensive back prospect rather than a quarterback, which I found kind of interesting. I wonder how his career would have turned out if he went that route. Lance was redshirted his freshman year in 2018. But he was still able to have some playing time in 2 games that year. In those 2 games, he went 1 for 1 with 12 yards in the air, and he rushed for 82 yards with 2 touchdowns. Now the 2019 season was the big one. The North Dakota State University Bison went undefeated, as their 16-0 record led them to the FCS championship. Personally, Lance rushed for 1,100 yards with 14 touchdowns, while throwing 28 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, setting the record for pass attempts without an interception. He went on to win both the Walter Payton Award for Best Offensive Player, as well as the Jerry Rice Award for Best Freshman. He also took home the MVP in the championship game. As 2020 approached, Lance was anticipating another outstanding year going into his sophomore season. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic earlier that year, Lance suited up for only 1 game that season. He threw for 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, and rushed for 2 touchdowns as well in a win over Central Arkansas. It was announced that the Bison were expecting to finish the season in early 2021, but Lance had decided to opt out of those games to prepare for the 2021 NFL Draft. Heading into the 2021 draft, there were 4 big names that had the potential to become the next star quarterback of the league: Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance. Jacksonville had the first pick, and they were always going to pick Trevor Lawrence. The New York Jets had the 2nd overall pick and were dead set on Zach Wilson. But the Dolphins had the 3rd overall pick, and they had just picked their quarterback of the future in Tua Tagovailoa the year before. So they were looking to potentially move the pick to a team who needed a quarterback and was willing to give up a lot in exchange for the pick. Enter the San Francisco 49ers, a team that missed the playoffs with a 6-10 record, a team that missed both Nick Bosa and Jimmy Garoppolo due to significant injuries. They were desperate to make it back to the top of the NFC, where they had lost in the NFC Championship just a year before that. So the 49ers pulled the trigger. They gave the Dolphins their 12th overall pick from 2021, their 1st and 3rd rounders for the 2022 draft, and their 1st round pick in the 2023 draft, in exchange for the 3rd overall pick in the 2021 draft. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, wait, so the Jaguars are taking Lawrence, the Jets are picking Wilson, but what about Mac Jones? Well, even after the trade was made, we still had no idea which quarterback San Francisco was going to pick. Trey Lance was the flashy dual threat option, while Mac Jones was the solid choice, being the quarterback from the Alabama Crimson Tide, who just took them to the college football championship. Although the question of which quarterback San Francisco was going to take remained until draft day, the 49ers ended up picking Trey Lance with the 3rd pick. His rookie contract was for 4 years, $31.1 million, and he was the first round quarterback taken by San Francisco since Alex Smith in 2005. Although Lance was the backup to Jimmy Garoppolo in the 2021 season, he was able to find playing time in 6 games throughout the season. He also started 2 games due to some injuries to Garoppolo. His first in Week 5 against the Arizona Cardinals, where the 49ers lost 17-10. His second start came in Week 17 against the Houston Texans, where he picked up his first career win, and the final score was 23-7. Garoppolo would return from injury for the final regular season game and for their playoff run, so Lance would not see the field for the rest of the season. He ended the year with 603 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions passing, and 168 yards and 1 touchdown running. Lance would officially be named the starter for the 2022 NFL season over Jimmy Garoppolo. In his first start of the season, the 49ers lost to the Bears 19-10 in Chicago in monsoon-like conditions, where we did get this really cool photo of Justin Fields. Lance was hoping to bounce back and get his first win of the season in Week 2 against the Seahawks. The 49ers would go on to win the game 27-7, but Trey Lance did not win the game. With 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first quarter, Lance broke his ankle in an intended QB run play. He would go on to have surgery on the ankle and would be out for the remainder of the 2022 season. Going into the 2023 season, Lance was going into training camp behind the 8 ball. The 49ers went on to make the NFC Championship game last season with a guy who you might have heard before, and his name is Brock Purdy, a guy who was called Mr. Irrelevant, the title given to the person drafted with the final pick of each draft. Purdy is lined up to be the starter once he returns from his own injury suffered in the NFC Championship game. Unfortunately for Lance, the 49ers also picked up Sam Darnold, an experienced quarterback who has had stints with the Jets and Panthers before joining San Francisco. Because of these two, Lance was seemingly pushed out of the 2 roster spots available for quarterbacks in the final 53-man roster. Trey Lance was named the 3rd choice quarterback by the 49ers, which essentially pushed him to the practice squad for the team. Just a few days later, Lance would be traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a 4th round pick. For me, Trey Lance's career so far can only be summed up in one word: unfortunate. Only being able to play 1 year in college due to the COVID pandemic, only being able to play 5 quarters in a season that he was supposed to be the starter and make that team fully his, and then losing out on a roster spot to Mr. Irrelevant and a guy who has heavily struggled in 2 different stops in his NFL career. So now that he has a new home in Dallas, we have to ask the question, what is Trey Lance now? Well, he can't exactly be an up-and-coming prospect anymore since he will be entering his 3rd year in the league. But he has by no means been able to show his full potential either. For a guy to have so many draft picks exchanged for him to get picked, just to end his time in San Francisco with a 2-2 record, 6 total touchdowns and 2 interceptions, your brain instantly goes to bust. But I don't want to give up on him just yet. He is definitely already on his final chance now that he is in Dallas. But I feel like he is still capable of becoming a solid backup or maybe even earning another opportunity as a starter. He just has to stay healthy, keep on improving, and perhaps get a little lucky. Then maybe, just maybe, Trey Lance can become the flashy, dual-threat quarterback that he was supposed to be. The story of Trey Lance is an interesting one, and I had a fun time learning about his journey to where we are now. And I hope you enjoyed following it along with me. If you're new around here, feel free to subscribe to my channel to be the first to know when I upload a new video. And while you're at it, give this video a like if you enjoyed it. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.